My name is Jane Doyle. I'm going to have to read this. The following is a quote from Osman of the Abenaki Nation. Only when the last tree has died and the last river has been poisoned and the last fish has been caught will we realize we cannot eat money. I'm here to request your compassion for some so-called last trees that are scheduled to die by your vote, if not by your hand. There are 5, as I understand it, that the arborist company has declared healthy. Any architect worth her or his salt could easily design around them. It's done all the time. If you will permit these trees to stay, they will continue to take carbon from the atmosphere. They will soften the hard-edged look of the cement blocks scheduled for the lot, and they will give some shade on a hot day, in addition to any new ones that are planted. I would like to assume that Mayor Keely will support keeping the healthy trees based on his support for Arbor Day, found under mayor proclamations on this meeting agenda. It reads in part, urging students and citizens to plant trees to offset climate change and enhance our local environment and natural world for our present and future generations. So thank you, Mayor Keely, for that. In closing, I just want to repeat the wise reminder from the Abenaki elder. Only when the last tree has died and the last river has been poisoned and the last fish has been caught will we realize that we cannot eat money.
Well timed. Thank you very much.
Hi there, honorable, hopefully, tree heroes. My name is Kershaw Durham. I'm here talking for the trees and my students. Number one, I think until funding happens, it doesn't make sense to touch our beloved trees, especially the healthy ones. Leslie Keely has said some of my trees around my house weren't healthy, but they're there 20 years later. So until there's funding, let's not cut them and have a painful eyesore like the holes we had before by the Rittenhouse building. Remember that? People are drawn to Santa Cruz because of the natural beauty, not for the big buildings, not for the libraries, especially not for parking garages. We are drawn here, why? Because of large trees. Over 1,000 people in the last day have signed and sent letters, 1,300 people in less than 24 hours. That shows Santa Cruz people love trees, not tiny ornamentals that you planted on Pacific after the earthquake, but large trees. Look at those liquid ambers. Please direct architects to design around our beloved trees. No one yet, not in the Parks and Rec meeting I was in, not in the Planning Commission meeting, no one yet has asked them to look at a design that has our heritage trees in them. So let's fast forward into the future. The tour guide leads you down to the large plaza by the beautiful big library. And there, instead of a flat plaza with treeless or tiny ornamentals, instead of having a tiny square foot childcare patio, which imagine, Renee, the size of this, a childcare patio, that small, they will have a beautiful, huge outdoor area. Here we are. Maybe we can call it the Fred Keely Commons. It's full of magnificent big trees. Ooh la la. Santa Cruz visionaries voted long ago to keep the precious trees. Look around at us. When I walk into town, I see canopies. It's the most beautiful thing. Please do the right thing. Large trees capture carbon, you know that. And you don't have the funding, so don't clear cut for a sad hole.
Good evening, Council, persons and Mayor Keely and Vice Mayor Doyle. I grew up on a 5,000-acre ranch in Rancho Vistoso in Tucson, Arizona. And our hacienda was a fine old house built in the 30s, and it was surrounded by a very lush oasis, about an acre of really intense planting. My grandmother was a landscape architect, and one of my chief loves as a child was going up. I built my first construction project was a tree house and a giant mulberry tree. It had walls, a window, door, a roof, and running water with steel pipe. And I did that when I was in middle school. And I used to go up there and get up there on a hot summer day and get way up in that mulberry tree where I had a hammock and hide up there because there was no ladder up to my treehouse. And I could hear my dad and my mom down there, "Where's Johnny? You know, he's supposed to be doing his chores." And I'm not going up and getting him. Well, I'm not either. And so that was my connection to nature. And then when the mulberries were up, that was easy eating too. So I had that treehouse all the way through high school, and it was a refuge for me because my brothers, I didn't get along with my brothers sometimes. So. But what I want to say, I want you to consider this next comment to be a California Public Records Act request, an oral one, under California Government Code 6254 et sequel. You all know how well I've handled that over the years. And I want to see any records of tree maintenance made on those trees inside the last 10 years. Now, I don't know how far back the maintenance records go, but there's no excuse for those trees being in the condition that the arborist is describing. There's no excuse whatsoever. All they need was good care. No excuse whatsoever. All these other trees in the thing are taken care of, so that records request is on the record. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
I'm John Hall.
Yes, you are.
And I'm going to speak to some extent as a sociologist here, so I won't lecture. So I want to say, there's a false premise that we have to choose between affordable housing and saving the trees, or between a library and saving the trees. We need to dismiss that idea. We want to see badly, the people who want to save some trees want badly to see housing built in Santa Cruz, and we believe that we can, in this project, have both the housing, the library, and save 2 heritage trees. Sociologically, in the sociology of law, you have a problem if a city government does not honor its own ordinances and its own resolutions. Jillian Greenside has gone through the details of the arborist report that says 5 trees that are heritage trees are worthy of preservation. She's shown you that there is no documentation that any effort was made to design an alternative plan that would accommodate the trees, 2 trees, even just 2 trees at the perimeter, and include the library, the housing, the parking garage, etc. So there's an issue of legitimacy of government if the city doesn't follow its own ordinances. I think that's something that you need to consider. The second thing, sociologically, is there's a great deal of social research, starting with the life and death, Jane Jacobs' Life and Death of American Cities, that shows that cities are for people who are on the streets, moving around, circulating, being with one another. I have never seen a public building.
Hall, what I'm going to do, because I interrupted you once, I'm going to give you another 15 seconds.
Okay. I've never seen a civic building that didn't have an entrance other than being just a storefront style entrance. We can do better here. I urge you to accommodate, to simply consider accommodating 2 trees. Thank you very much.
Mr. Hall, thank you. Thank you for your good work on this.
Good evening. My name is Barbara Riverwoman. I found myself longing today, as I thought about this meeting, for a fairy tale. So, being a preschool teacher and telling stories, I thought I would write one. So I just wrote this. It's a little rough. Once upon a time, there was a perfect little town nestled between a flowing river and a great ocean. The people in this town especially loved their trees, and the trees loved them back. The breath of the trees filled the people's lungs with healthy air, and the huge and beautiful white flowers on the magnolias and the flaming reds of the liquid ambers brought joy to everyone. But then 2 bad things happened. The little town became filled with monsters with strange names like Chevrolet and Ford and Tesla. And some people in the town made friends with the monsters and wanted to build more roads and houses for the monsters, even though the monsters breathed out poison and they were not beautiful. So then there was a fight. 3 wise women made a very good law that the city could not cut down any special trees until they tried, as Jillian said, very, very hard to make room for them. 3 wise men told the city it shouldn't build a house for monsters in the first place. So once again, this time the leaders of the little town paid a lot of money to some wise people, Nelson Newgard, to tell them what to do. They said, the wise people said, don't build houses for cars. That will just make the monsters want to stay here. You should build parks for the future. So the leaders took a vote, and it wasn't a fair vote. They voted to cut down the trees. The same people said, maybe just a few trees. So the city leaders took another vote. And I will tell you, my little granddaughter, as I told her I would tell her later what happens tonight, I will tell you later tonight what happened at the end of the story.
Thank you. I'll say this, whether or not I agree with you on that, that was adorable.
My name is Lisa Ekstrom. I think all of us care deeply for the future of the community. That's why we're here. I think we also all share concern for the climate emergency that we're all facing. I recently heard someone say that if you want to accomplish nothing, convince people that they're on opposite sides of each other. And I believe we've all known the frustrations of that experience. For example, it could appear that one person's passionate protection of our heritage trees could be at cross purposes with another person's equally passionate push to get more affordable housing built as soon as possible. But what if we're not at cross purposes? What if it's not yes or no? What if it's, what if trees or this project is actually a false choice? In fact, as we work hard to create more much needed affordable housing downtown, these big trees will be even more of a crucial protection against rising levels of CO2, working hard to support environmental health, human health, even community health. It will take a very long time, as other people have said, for new sapling trees to protect us, as the heritage trees already do. So what can we do together, honoring our need to affordably house more of our community and honor our ordinance and honor the trees that have been protecting us and continue to protect us? I come from a family of architects. I've seen many large projects change remarkably in their scope. And if it weren't for the robust public engagement on this project, as many people have mentioned, we could still be here today talking about a huge new parking garage with no affordable housing in sight. So please direct the architects of this project to create a design alteration to honor, accommodate, and save as many of our heritage trees on this site as possible. Thanks very much, Mayor and council members, for your time and consideration.
Thank you very much.
Hi, I'm Ryan Wilder, local activist and independent journalist, and I come to speak because I think one of the only people in this room under the age of like 25, so I have a pretty important perspective on this. I'm feeling quite conflicted, to be honest, because I see, I am somebody who is in need of affordable housing here in Santa Cruz. I currently live in Boulder Creek at the house where I've lived for my whole life because I can't find anywhere to move out. I just can't. I can't find anywhere to move into Santa Cruz, around Santa Cruz, I can't find anything. But also, I do see the tree advocates, things, particularly it takes trees a long time to grow, takes, many years for such large trees to grow, but also I see the not wanting to delay such a deeply important project, for further and further pushing it back. Just one of the other things that I kind of thought about was the large-ish parking garage that is still there, and those ideas of just like, there's this concept in urban design called induced demand. If you build it, they will come. So producing more car-centric infrastructure leads to more demand for cars, and in this particularly very downtown area, very closely proximity to the transit center and walkability, I could also see not needing so much space developed to car parking and those kind of things. So I really don't know if I'm advocating for or against the program. I kind of I'm feeling very conflicted on it. And just as a youth who has a vested interest in this community, I was born in Felton. I've lived in Boulder Creek my entire life. I've been a citizen here my whole life. I'm also a permanent pedestrian. So a lot of prevalent perspectives. So I don't know how I feel. Thank you very much.
I'll be brief. We love the library. We love affordable housing. People love trees. And these pictures, you should have had 60 of them, I believe, in the last few weeks coming into your email. And these were taken by people along the periphery, not in the inside. So there's tree 5, which is quite healthy. You go look. It's obviously healthy. And also, I think one of these is on a liquid amber. But just to remind you, a lot of people in the city really love the trees. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Keely.